Hi there, and welcome to the Couples Expert Podcast. This is Stuart Fensterheim, the Couples Expert. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, any holiday that you celebrated this last few days. I want to just thank you for joining me at this podcast where we talk about the celebrating of the ending of 2016, the beginning of 2017. But more importantly, thank you for joining me once again at this podcast, which is my love for sharing with couples what it takes to create that one special relationship with that one person, the person that you know has your back, that the two of you are in this world together, loving each other, caring about the world, caring about one another, and more importantly, knowing that you're with that one person who loves you more than anyone else in the world. I do these podcasts to really give to the community, my community of listeners, as well as the community at large. And we now have an international audience, which is really exciting. We're in approximately 32 countries. And I want to invite all of you to please subscribe to this podcast. That way, you will have the first opportunity to hear the episode when it goes live, because it would be downloaded to your mobile device, computer, and you will be able to really understand first, right away, when this content that I offer, which is bringing experts onto this podcast to talk about relationships and what it really is going to take to have the two of you experience each other really as there for one another. I invite you to subscribe on iTunes. The other thing I wanted to let you know is I also do a YouTube video series, a daily 3 Minutes with Stuart on my YouTube channel, the Couples Expert YouTube channel, where you can get daily tips to really start your day of an idea or suggestion of ways to make your relationship most important to yourself, to your partner, and you can do it today. And that way you can start off your day with the knowledge and an awareness of what it's going to take to really feel loved by one another. My mission, as I'm mentioning here, is really to help couples find their way to a deeper, more authentic relationship. The holidays are really winding down right now, and I'm reflecting back on the last few days for me and my wife, and I have family in from Chicago, and we've really been doing a lot of fun stuff. We celebrate both Hanukkah and Christmas, so we've been doing that. I joined my wife at Christmas Mass at St. Patrick's Catholic Church because it's a commitment that I've made to her that I will be doing that every single year to make sure she knows that my commitment to her and to our life together allows her to have her faith in the way that she needs that. I talked last week a lot about interfaith couples and what that's going to take. And this week, the week of Hanukkah and Christmas, really is a way that both of us really give back to one another and let each other know how important we are by letting each of us have our faith in our way and know that that is going to be something that is a very important piece of our commitment to one another to give back, not just in words, but also in action. The holidays, Christmas holidays, really wind down the year. Once Christmas hits, it's about a week until New Year's Day. And this week, I'm reflecting back on 2016. And I'm thinking about all the things that have happened both in my personal life as well as my professional life. And there's been a lot of exciting things. I feel really thrilled that this podcast has reached the heights of 50,000 downloads, that I've been sharing my message of love and connection, and it seems to be really being responded positively by my listeners who send me notes and emails and little messages that tell me that what I'm talking about is really important to them and that they want me to continue. And I plan to, in 2017, to really make this podcast, my YouTube videos, and all the things that I do on my Facebook page the Couples Expert Facebook page really relevant. The best way that that could happen, and I need your help, the best way is for you to continue to send me messages either through email at stuart.thecouplesexperts.com, or you can go on my website, the www.thecouplesexperts.com, and there's a chat there. And I, myself and my staff, man that chat pretty much 5 days a week, pretty much from 8 in the morning till about 8 at night. And you can send a message to me there as well of topics and things that you would like this podcast to be covering, and anything that you would like me to do a video on to give you a relationship tip for the day. That's how this podcast becomes our podcast. And I want it to not just be me and my thoughts, although I will continue in the same methods that I've been doing so far, but I want it to also be something that you look forward to my coming on every week, typically on a Thursday. Sometimes it's not done till Friday. And we just get together to just chat about the things that matter, chat about how to make our partner and us go from having a good relationship to having a fantastic, great relationship. And sometimes we cross couples that are struggling, and we talk about those issues as well. 2017 really is a great time to start fresh. I look back on some of the things that didn't go so well with my life in terms of my relationship, that at times my wife and I do sometimes get caught up in the same cycles that every couple does. And what I'm going to do is really let all of that go. I'm going to tell myself that today is the first day, and that what I'm going to do today isn't a reflection on what happened before. Because whether or not my partner feels that I am there for them is the most important thing in the world for me. And nothing will stand in my way to allow myself to do that. So these goals that we set right now, starting today for next year, can help the two of you really begin to develop and create your own love story. And that's really what matters. That what this year of 2017 will be for me, and what I hope it will be for all of you, is really the beginning of the two of you having the most incredible understanding, growing, connected, playful, sexual, loving relationship than anyone else that you know. Because if you set a goal and you decide that what you're going to do is going to make sure that this happens, not waiting for your partner to begin first, but that you are going to create this for yourself, nothing will stop it. I don't know how many of you know who Oscar Wilde is, but he was a pretty smart guy. And I came across a quote of his, and it says the following: "You don't love someone for their looks or their clothes or their fancy cars. You love them because they sing a song only you can hear." Now let's think about that for a moment. What does that really mean? What that means is that the connection that you can develop with your partner is one in which the two of you have a connection that is incredibly deep and has something unique to it for the two of you, because the two of you created something together that then allows the two of you to have this song that touches your heart. And what we know is that how that happens is we learn what's important to our partners. What are their attachment needs? What are the things that our partner truly needs to feel loved? And by talking about those things a lot, we learn how to connect there. We learn how to develop an attachment, to be vulnerable, and most importantly, to be authentic in our relationships. So when you hear that song of love that your partner sings, You hear it as a song, not a chant, not a criticism, not an assumption of putting you down. You hear it as what they intend, which is for you to know how loved you are. And this podcast will continue in 2017 to help you do that. One of the things that I'd love, and I would like your help also in, is in the comments section on my website of www.theCouplesExperts, where there's a way you can comment on my individual podcast. I would love for you to put a song in there that is the two of your song. I think it'd be cool to have a list, a playlist sort of couples who listen to this podcast and what songs they listen to. What is your song? What is the song you had at your wedding? What is the song that now when the two of you listen to, you take pause and you smile and you know it represents the love that the two of you have for one another? I wanted to also share that next week's podcast, I'm going to have Kelsey Blythe on. Kelsey is a counselor that's joined my practice over the last couple of months, and we've been working really hard at putting together a premarital counseling program. And Kelsey is designated as our expert for premarital counseling. We all do it, but she's going to be running some programming for us on helping couples really begin their relationship in the best way possible, which is learning about vulnerability and authenticity prior to getting married, and then taking it forward once they are married to really establishing that relationship. And what's interesting about Kelsey is she is getting married herself. She's getting married next year, and we're all excited here for that. So she is going to be able to bring her experience, both personally and professionally, into that. So please tune in next week and you'll hear that podcast. This week's topic, we're going to be really talking about setting goals and how we set goals. And, everyone talks about New Year's resolutions. I'm not so sure that New Year's resolutions really cut it. And the reason for it, and the reason I'm concerned about New Year's resolution and this whole trend of saying, okay, let's set New Year's resolutions, is we know statistically how many people don't live up to them. And if that's the case, what truly happens then is you're setting yourself up to fail. You're setting yourself up to say, I made another promise that I didn't live up to. And there's enough of that goes around in relationships. So I don't want to be someone that brings that forward about how many vows we make to quit smoking or drinking or promises to call your mom. All of these things don't seem to happen because what we know is we need a plan that has successful steps in small chunks that we can then say, I'm going to do this, and look back and go, wow, I succeeded in that. I can then move on for the next one. So what we're really talking about is putting down different steps to create that most incredible stairway of success that will bring the two of you into a relationship where you two have the most happy relationship in 2017. Now, when we talk about setting realistic and concrete goals, it's pretty serious stuff. But if it's just really this hard thing to do, who likes doing that? So when you set this goals, number one, they have to be written down. We know that. Unless you write down your goals, they don't happen. So yes, this needs to be a bit serious, but we also want to make it fun. And what we know about setting goals in your personal life is that you can't just slap together some words on a piece of paper and stick it in a drawer somewhere. They have to be written, as I said, but they also have to be measurable. When you have a goal which you've dedicated, now hear this out, to yourself, they will more often than not be accomplished because you're not promising it to someone else. You're promising it to yourself and what you're going to do, and this is critical. You have to look at them almost every single day. You need to be looking at them on a regular basis. You want to work at developing a list, and we'll be talking about some of the things that need to be on that list. But these need to be things that you're willing to shout at the rooftops that this is something I want to do, not just my partner, that both of you want to do this. And what you need to be doing is checking in with each other on these lists that you two have created, not in a negative way, not in sort of making them accountable and then saying, why didn't you do that? But to work at this in the spirit of having fun and being there for one another and giving your partner an honest assessment of how it's going. And what people don't realize, and I think this is the key here, when you do a check-in with your partner, partners need to consider that you checking in with them is risky. You want, and most people need their partner's appraisal of doing a good job. Your judgment of your partner is really important to them. It may not appear that way all the time, but I can tell you in talking with hundreds of couples, thousands of couples now, over the 30 years that I've been working as a couples counselor, is our partner's judgment impact us in such a deep way that if we don't feel that we can get their approval, we're devastated. So it's important when you two get together to talk about this that you acknowledge that and you do the best you can do of really sharing with your partner the things that have pleased you the most. And if there's one or two things that aren't working well, to talk about that too. But how we have to do this is to create some fun with it. So I'm going to highly recommend doing this on a very regular basis, 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5 times a year. And each of you will plan the event that goes along with this. This needs to be a fun event, an event that you both are looking forward to, and your partner gets to decide a few things. Now, what do they decide? The partner decides where you're going to go. Ladies, listen up. Guys, listen up. How each of you are going to dress, and setting it up as a surprise event so your partner is anticipating something incredibly exciting and fun. What you want to do is make this place that you and your partner are going to go to romantic and enjoyable. You're going to take that time to check in with each other and evaluate how it's going, but first, you're going to take time together to have fun. And it should be something that does cost a bit of money. You need to invest in your relationship as much as you invest in other things in your life, in work, in your business, in all things. These meetings, these get-togethers, should be a top priority, because what we know is that if your relationship at home is not working well, nothing works well. So these fun times will allow you to have a successful business, be successful at parenting, be successful in everything that you do. It's more important than a new car. It's more important than that job or that business that you run or the vacation you're saving up for. Because unless your relationship is working, that vacation is not going to be fun. You want your vacation, the family vacation, the vacation as a couple, to be something that both of you go, wow, I'm going away to play with my best friend. But if you're going away to a fun place with someone that you don't even want to look at, what kind of vacation is that? These regular meetings that I'm talking about will allow you to have that. So you want to schedule at least once a quarter and take time off work to do this. Save up your vacation days. So you're going to save up 3 or 4 or 5 days a year that are for these get-togethers. It's going to add some incredible dimensions to your relationship that might be missing, which is the playfulness, the anticipation. It also is important to make these business get-togethers exciting, and it's about really making them romantic and physically intimate. There's a requirement of these meetings. When you get together, both of you should know part of what you're going to do here is work on your physical intimacy with one another. So what are some of the things that are going to be included in these lists? Here are the top 9 things that I want you to use as a criteria in evaluating how you guys are doing, and you can always add more to them. So these are just the first 9 that I think is important in any relationship to really take a look at and stand back with. Number 1 is our communication. Is our communication with one another open, honest, authentic, and direct? You never want to use a text message to relay important emotional content. And I can't tell you how many couples that I have in my office that part of the challenge is they get into text wars. They are fighting over text about different topics. So many times we send texts that they're miscommunicated, and that's even if we're doing it directly without emotional content. Add emotion into it, and the percentage of misunderstanding resulting from these are astronomically high, because without face-to-face communication, we don't send the right messages because you don't have the nonverbal communication to feed off of. Now, I'm not suggesting not to text. What I'm telling you is text should be direct, logistical kinds of things. To stay connected, to let your partner know that you're thinking about them, that's okay. You can use text to stay in touch and to check in. You can use it to flirt, to let your partner know that you're thinking about them during the day. Are you doing those kinds of things? It's okay to use text to schedule things, but don't send a text to talk about the fight that just happened or talk about how you feel empty and alone. That's not how we do that. That needs to be done in a very direct, honest, authentic way. And one of the things you're evaluating is, are we doing that? Are we talking about the right things? Number 2 is alone time. I hear so many couples talking about this balance between together time and alone time. And what I'll say to you is that it is important for both of you to have alone time. Now, not everyone wants it or needs it. But if you're with someone that this is important, to this me time, if it's crucial for you, you need to let your partner know about it, and you need to talk about it in a way that lets them know that it isn't a reflection on you, on your partner, but that without us feeling filled up individually, without me being sustained because of the things that I need, I will be depleted. And if I'm depleted, I can't be there and present for you. So giving to yourself can be as important, if not more important sometimes, than giving to your relationship, because what I know is that when you give to your partner who needs that, and they recognize that you're doing that for them, they are so much more loving and caring and present than they ever can be otherwise. We need to also talk about listening, not just hearing. You need to look between the lines. You need to listen with your partner's experience, not yours. You want to listen with intention, and we want to have, and I've talked for a long time about having an intentional relationship, which means intentionally in your head, changing the message if need be, if it comes at you in a critical, non-caring way, knowing your partner well enough to know that that would not be what they would intend, and allowing yourself to manipulate it to hear the positive message. You want to also be someone that says no topic with us is ever off limits, and you must have undivided attention when you're talking. That means no fubbing. For those of you that don't know what fubbing is when we snub our partners with texting while they're talking to us. Cell phones, mobile phones are great methods of communication, terrible for relationships. And if you're having a talk with your partner about something that is important, please let them know to turn their cell phone off or put it on silent, that you don't want to be disturbed. And partners, please be willing to do that. In the old days, we talked about not reading the paper while someone's talking to you. Don't be playing around or looking at your phone or playing a game on your phone when your partner is talking. And don't be that person that says, oh, I can multitask. I've heard it so much. No, you can't multitask in this way. And even if you can, if your partner can't, then what good is it? This has to be about the two of you. No topic could be off limits. What that means is no matter what the issues are, nothing goes on that unending shelf where you have topic after topic after topic that you can't talk about, that then crashes the shelf and crashes the relationship. You need to talk about the things that matter. If you have some relationship injuries, those things may have to be talked about over and over and over again. And your message to your partner has to be, nothing's off limits. No matter how long it takes, we're going to get to it. You need to court your partner. Courting your partner is about taking care of yourself and making yourself presentable to your partner. You know, my kids used to come to me and say, Dad, why are you criticizing me? Aren't I supposed to be able to be myself here at my house? Yes, you need to be yourself in your home. But don't forget, we're still in a relationship. So if being yourself means not showering for weeks at a time, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to be yourself there and have a partner that's interested in going to bed with you. So we need to court our partners every single day. And that includes making sure our hair looks good, our makeup is good, the clothes we wear are attractive, that we're polite, we're considerate. We do the things that we used to do to make sure our partners fall in love with us. But then so many couples stop. Look at what you go to bed in. Are you wearing a raggedy, torn, not washed t-shirt? Or are you wearing something that's going to turn your partner on, whether or not you are intimate that night, but that they look at you and go, I am the luckiest guy in the world that this person wants me. And I tell you something, folks, if you do that, if you set yourself up that way, that's what you'll have. I'm fortunate to say at 62 years old, my wife turns me on now more than ever. And I say that not to just sort of gloat, but to tell you that because she does these things. And she's not even in the field. She knows that it's important to do that. So if I mention that something she's wearing I really like, she'll wear it a lot. If I mention something that she puts on, don't find it very attractive on her, she tends not to wear it. Now that's not her being controlled, because we both do that for each other. And that's what we need to be doing. We need to pay attention. If you have a beard and your partner hates beards, don't say, this is me, love me or leave me. Shave it off. Or if you wear so much makeup, your partner can't even tell what's you, don't do it if it's not something your partner likes. Color of your hair, size of your hair, all these things. Now, if we have one thing after another, after another, after another, that our partner is saying, I don't like this, I don't like this, you may stand back and go authentically, hey, I have an issue here. Are you wanting me to be something I'm not? And those things have to be discussed. You should have a date night at least twice a month, at a minimum. It may involve childcare, because this has to be without children. 2 to 4 times a month is the minimum. Now, what comes with this is our physical relationship. and I'm going to set a guideline. I don't think we have to have sex a set number of times a day, a week, or a month, but I think we want to have an active sex life. What we know is that the research is clear. When we talk about couples that are happy in their relationship, the couples that are happy say they have an active sex life. The ones that are happy that don't have an active sex life are ones where sex is not possible because of illness or another problem that is unpreventable. If you're in a relationship with two normal, healthy individuals, unless you have an active sexual relationship, most people do not define their intimate and personal relationship as satisfying. I want to say something about this, though. There's a concept that I recently learned, which is less is more. You don't have to do a whole lot to have this be something your partners are attracted to. I did something recently that taught me this very loud and clear. Some of you may have heard this story, but I was away in Chicago for a while, came back, decided I wanted to set up a romantic event for my wife. So I gathered a bunch of candles, and I was going to invite her to take a bath with me when I returned. I did that. I had about 10 or 11 candles, I think it was, when I counted them. And I said, this is going to be really great. I'm going to come home. We're going to have a bath together, get intimate. And we got into the bath. I lit the candles, and one of them, which was a gel candle, blew up and exploded, burning both of us, and we both had second-degree burns. And we're continuing to deal with some of those injuries. I guarantee you something. No intimacy happened. Emergency room presence did. Less is more means I didn't need 10 or 11 candles. 1 or 2 would have been enough. This is not about blowing our partners out. It's about letting them know we thought about them. So less is more. Keep that in mind. The other thing I want to share is about couples retreats and self-help books. I highly recommend those. And I think in business, we all do it. In business, we have continuing education units that we're required to do. I'm filing for my renewal of my license at the end of this year, and I need 30 units, 30 hours of continuing education credits. They know that unless I keep on top of things, I'm not going to be as sharp as someone that does. That's also true with our relationship. So I'm going to say you must do something every single year, at least one, that's going to be about learning how to make our partners feel loved, about improving ourselves. We need to do those kinds of things. I also want to mention something before I finish up with our topic for today, that my 3 minutes with Stuart that I mentioned earlier, you can subscribe to that on YouTube. My YouTube channel, The Couples Experts, if you go onto youtube.com and put in The Couples Experts, you'll see I've now done over, and I'm really amazed how many we've done. I've done over 300 videos on different relationship topics. I try to make them interesting and fun and change up sort of the style of them, because I want them to be quick little videos that you can have something to pay attention to keep really on top of what could I do each and every day to improve my relationship. And you could subscribe to that at my YouTube channel. I'd ask you to check it out to see what you think. So our last topic for today is, now that you've put together your relationship list of what are the things you're going to pay attention to, now we need to really evaluate it. And so we need to really write them down and then compare our lists. You want to look at your partner's goals. Are their goals the same as yours? Do they align with you? Are they ones that will affect your relationship positively? Are they too critical? What are they like? Because the whole purpose with this is the two of you to create these as one set agenda. You're going to create a common list of goals that the two of you will evaluate at the end of the year, so that you want to be able to support each other in setting the goals and working on them. You want them to be in sync with the two of you and what you want this relationship to look like every single year. So one way of doing that is we start out in the conversation and saying, okay, so what do we want to accomplish? What do we want to achieve here? What's our overall goal? Is the goal to have a more loving, intimate relationship? Is the goal to be more emotionally responsive? Is the goal to feel like we're spending time together and doing things as a couple? Are we wanting to have more confidence on where we stand with one another? Those are going to help you determine which are the ones to pay the most attention to. So for an example here, not only do we want to set the goal, but we want action items. We want things specifically stated. What am I going to do? And going back to my 3 minutes with Stuart videos, if you want me to help you in that and send me your goals, I'll create videos for you. Because what you're looking for, most people are. So it'd be something that would benefit my entire community. So send me your lists and I'll make those videos. So for instance, the action to live up to the goal, what would that be? So if we say what I want my goal to be is to have my partner tell me more that they love me, be using more emotional terminology to let me know. So what I might do is take out a sheet of paper and write on top of it, I want my wife or my husband to know how much I love them. And then I would break it down with very specific, detailed times and days and things you do. So I'm going to tell her in the next month or in the next week that I love her 6 different times during the day, in different times, in different places, in different ways. So for example, if we're going to do that, one might be when I wake up in the morning, I will tell her I love her. So you wake up and you turn over and say, honey, I love you. Second might be when my wife leaves for work, I will tell her I love her. So when she's about to leave, you stop her and say, I want you to know how much I love you and I'm really excited for tonight when we get back together to have dinner. That's an action. Another might be when she comes home, I will stop what I'm doing and give my partner my undivided attention and tell them that I love them. When we're putting the kids to bed, I'm going to turn to my partner and tell them I love her or love him, and that there's nothing that gives me more joy than knowing that we're building a life together with these kids. When we go to sleep, I'm going to tell them I love them. I'm going to leave trinkets in the car and with a little note that says, I love you. These same goals, one goal has different steps. And that's what you have to break down with your goals that you've set up, the 9 that I gave, and you can pick and choose those and find the ones that are most important to the two of you. Underneath all your goals has to be letting our partners know how important they are to us and that we want to have a closer, more loving relationship. Each goal has to be measured specifically so you can then, when you get together, say, how are we doing with it? Are we doing that well? Are we not as successful? And if not, why not? I think you're going to find that this journey of doing this, if it's set up to really tell our partners how important they are to us, that everyone will be on board. You're not going to have a lot of hassle with people saying, no, I don't want to go to the Riviera. No, I don't want to go to a resort. No, I don't want to go to a bed and breakfast because that's the last thing I want to do. Of course they will, especially if they know it's about the two of you loving each other, staying to be each other's best friends, and knowing that your partner has your back. Most of these issues ordinarily take care of themselves. Once in a while, if this is a struggle, if it's not working, you may need to reach out to get some couples counseling, and I urge you to do that if you can't have these kinds of conversations, because nothing matters more than each other. The love is what will keep you strong. You need to focus on this every single day, not just when it's time for a new year, but every single day of your life together. Have the conversation now. Don't delay it. Don't wait till mid-January to have this conversation. Have this conversation to set this up today. Don't let 1 day, 1 minute, 1 second go by without talking about this. Your ultimate goal, as I said when we opened this podcast, is to have the most incredible loving relationship than anyone that you know. Thank you once again. I want to just really end with this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm excited for 2017 with this podcast. I really appreciate how much time and energy and presence you all have been this year. I want to wish you all an incredibly happy new year. Let's make 2017 the best year for our relationships, for our partners, ourselves. And from Scottsdale, Arizona, on December the 28th, have a happy new year. This is Stuart Fensterheim, the couples expert, saying one last time in this year, stay connected. Take care now. So long.